Good morning and welcome to another beginning drawing class. Today we're going to continue our focus using simple shapes, and our subject today is butterflies. And so I have three examples of different kinds of butterflies, and what I'm going to do to try to make it a little more interesting is because both wings are generally almost not exactly the same, but very much the same. And so to give you a little more of a variety, I'm going to do the left half of the wing in one coloring arrangement and the other one in a different one. That way you can decide have a little more variety to choose from. So we're going to begin with the pen and ink to ensure that you can actually see what I have drawn. And so now there are different kinds and shapes and styles, and Kate has made some as we continue here, Kate has made a copy of, we had an old encyclopedia that Judy had purchased here, I think about a year ago. It reminded her of days gone by. And as we continue drawing here, as you can see, we're dealing strictly with simple shapes. And we're just going to do like this. And now, oftentimes you can see the veins in the wings, and so I'm kind of indicating that here. So there are so many beautiful different kinds of butterflies that it is amazing. And so you're going to have some beautiful examples taken from this old encyclopedia okay, so that's basically. So then what I'm going to do is just, hopefully the ink is dry so that I can erase. Now I'm using an 80-pound pressed paper, which is a little easier to erase without wrinkling the paper, which I'm sure you're familiar with. So in this case, now the monarch butterfly is black and orange, and there's so many different kinds of orange, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the black here. We're using colored pencil again, which is, of course, one of the media that I like because it's clean. You don't need water to deal with the watercolors, and which watercolor is fine, or oil, which takes a long time to dry. And so for our purposes, just to be able to quickly do something, and I think this is now I use a scratch pad to do both I use it for the eraser to get, the erasing material that you get, the pencil material that you get from your eraser. I put that on a notepad that I use for making notes, for one thing, but also for cleaning my eraser. So it's nice to have something like that around so you can keep your eraser clean. You can do a better job erasing. And now, like I said, you'll have some really beautiful pictures of butterflies that you can use. I'm just going to do a little darker on the black just so that you can see. And one of the reasons that I'm going to be doing the other half differently is by taking the same butterfly, instead of just, for our purpose, doing the same on both sides. I mean, you know what it's going to look like this. So, and then I'm going to make this black as well, the body, head and body of the butterfly. But as you can see, basically all just very simple shapes. The wings, very simple. And now on this one, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to use a dark green, whereas I had used black before. And what I'm trying to do is to encourage you to experiment. Now, if you've got a picture of a butterfly and you want to do it just like that, that's fine. But at the same time, I want to encourage you to experiment and be creative. That's part of the whole idea of creating, is come up with your own. So I'm not saying that I've ever seen a butterfly like this one on this side, but it's an experiment. We're just doing something different. But the other thing too is to try to do a little drawing. If you can do a little drawing every day, it really makes a difference. So this way, I am going to, I think I better sharpen this a little bit. As we've talked about before in terms of colors, you've got your colors that complement each other, and so certain colors just go well together. For example, we're using a yellow and a green here, which, like I say, maybe you've never seen a butterfly like this one on this side. But the bottom line is, green is made from what? Yellow and blue, right? So you would think that since green has yellow in it, that yellow would look very nice with it. And so, and then putting your veins in there too really makes a difference too. So make it as realistic as possible. And you can darken the green more. It's not necessary for me to do that right now because I want to also, I have two other different kinds of butterflies that I want to do next that I don't want to spend too much time. But you can see the difference and you know, how much fun you can have just playing around with different colors. So I'm going to work on this one now. So this is a very different shape. Now I'm not concerned about the different names of the different butterflies. You're very welcome to get involved in all of that. You know, the monarch is one that is lives in our area and something we see a lot, but okay, so okay, so here again we're dealing so much with simple shapes. And the lines, the veins, you know, we started off with so many line drawings of different kinds, if you'll recall. And so now you're just using lines again. Okay, I think that'll do that one. So, time to do a little erasing of the pencil marks. Now, when I draw in the beginning, as I've suggested, that you draw lightly, well, I do that, but as we've talked about before, it doesn't show up in on the tape, so I've had to eliminate that one step. Okay, so I'm going to start with the body, so since there's only one, and it's going to basically be now this combination, I'm going to use a brown and a yellow, and so I am going to do this side one way, just like we did before. And then determining, whoops, what kind of brown we want to use. So, just like the orange that we used earlier, if you have a set of colored pencils with, you know, 30 or 40 different colors, you'll have 3 or 4 kinds of orange and 3 or 4 kinds of brown. And so from a light brown to a medium brown to a light brown. And so the ability to create expands. And so you can have a lot of fun with being able to use so many different colors, or so many different values of the same color. So, again, this is simply just one of 1,000 ways to do something like this. And so, what I think I'm going to do is do this one just the opposite. So, now if you keep your colored pencil sharp, it will be easy to do the small areas like that. And then when you're doing the larger areas, you want it, as we've talked about before, you get your beveled edge by running that pencil over like a notepad like that. Now they have little, and I think I've shown it to you, I don't have it with me right here, but a little sandpaper type gizmo that you can use, but because it's sandpaper, for some things it's useful, but for other things it just takes too much material off of your pencil. So I don't use it that often. I have one, but I find that a good quality colored pencil, by just using a notepad to get your beveled edge so that you get a nice smooth color, is sufficient for me anyway. And that's something that each person can decide for themselves. So, okay, so now I think I'm going to just make this a little darker to see if that comes out a little better before we move on to our third and final example. But you can see that by doing one side one way and the other side the other way, you have a little more variety to look at how it comes out, to determine for yourself how you would like to choose the variety of colors that you use for yourself. Okay, well, you get the idea, so I think we can leave that one, and we'll go down here to our final example. So again, we'll use our pen and ink, black, so it shows up very nicely. Okay. This part here gives you a guide in terms of another color that you're going to be using. Okay. So butterflies are so beautiful and so colorful, and I mean, who doesn't like a butterfly, right? Okay, so we have that, and then I'm going to clean my eraser a little bit here with the notepad. It also gives the ink a little chance to dry. But I've found that this very good quality ink dries very quickly, especially on a good quality paper. And so like I was saying, this is 80-pound press paper. It's good for pen and ink and colored pencil. And okay, so let's see, got a brown and yellow, a red and a black. Yeah, let's do a red and a black, shall we? So our black will start here in the body. And then over here we have right on the edge a little bit of black, and that also is a determining factor, is, you know, how detailed the different parts are, and so you can change that as you wish to please yourself in terms of how you want it to look. So we're going to do it like this, and again there's a whole host of different arrangements that you can come up with. This is just an example, okay? So it's not set in stone. You're welcome to change it any way you want to please yourself. So then, this is the red that I'm going to use. It's pretty dark, but if you put it on lightly, it doesn't have to be as dark as it really is. So see, with that beveled edge, you can get a very smooth color at whatever darkness you've decided that you want. So I'm thinking I'm just going to make it a little richer by darkening it just a little. And here with that beveled edge, you can do that without... Now the other thing is, you can see the veins in the wings are not as noticeable now because it's a fine line, and so you can go over that again if that's an important element for you. But I don't think I'm going to. You can see it a little bit. I don't know how well you can see it on the video, but anyway, that's the idea. And then this last one over here, I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to use a dark brown. This is a very dark brown. But you know, for those who are interested, you can do research on butterflies and learn about the different areas that they live and, you know, how they survive, and just have a lot of fun with it. And the fact that you have the freedom as an artist at whatever level that you are, you know, artistic license, don't forget, artistic license. So it's such an important element. Now with the beveled edge, I don't know if you can see this, but you have a point on one of the edges which allows you to do a little detail, like right on the edge there. And then I'm going to use this powder blue. There's a picture, I hope that she got it, in this encyclopedia. There's beautiful light blue butterfly that just didn't have a lot of colors, mostly just that blue, but it's just absolutely gorgeous. So blue and brown go together quite nicely. So basically, there are 3 different butterflies and 6 different examples of how you can approach the coloring, and because butterflies are, as we've talked about in terms of making it easy to begin something. If you simplify the shape using simple shapes, it's a lot easier. And as you've observed, the butterfly is basically a very simple shape. So there you are. That's what I have for you. And thank you very much, and enjoy drawing.